Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into some really fascinating stuff today,
Yeah,
all about Ethereum
Ethereum.
and its potential to really shake up the world of finance.
Like, absolutely.
And to help us kind of unpack all of this,
Yeah.
we've got some really great analysis from senior strategist Juan Leon.
Great source. Yeah.
So the big question we're going to be kind of tackling today
Yeah.
is, could Ethereum really be on the verge of like a
Yeah. Is it
a
gonna?
major financial boom?
It's the question everyone's asking.
Yeah, so one of the signs that people are pointing to
Yeah.
is BlackRock's iShares Ethereum Trust ETF,
Right.
ETHA,
Anything. Yeah.
and it just crossed a major milestone,
Huge.
1 million ETH,
Wow.
giving it a market cap of $4 billion.
That's a lot of trust.
That's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
So this is suggesting that, these big institutional investors
The big guys.
are starting to see the potential in Ethereum.
Yeah. Putting their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
Which is
Which is huge,
a big deal.
especially when we're talking about crypto,
Yeah.
which is known for being
A little bit.
volatile.
Yeah. A little bit.
So what is it about Ethereum specifically
Right.
that's kind of making these institutions
Yeah.
so bullish?
Well, I think they're starting to look beyond just the speculative aspect of it.
Okay.
And they're recognizing the utility of the underlying technology.
Okay.
And one of the big things is Ethereum's tokenization capabilities.
Okay. So that's a word that gets thrown around a lot.
It does.
Tokenization.
Tokenization, yeah.
So for our listeners who maybe aren't,
Yeah.
super familiar with all the ins and outs,
Yeah.
can you break down exactly how that works
Yeah.
and why it's such a game changer?
Yeah. So basically, tokenization is the ability to represent
Right.
real world assets
Okay.
digitally on a blockchain.
Okay.
So think about it like this. You have something valuable,
Okay.
like a piece of real estate.
Yep.
Traditionally, ownership of that is represented with a deed,
Right. A physical
a
document.
physical document, right?
Yeah.
Tokenization takes that deed and basically creates a digital token
Okay.
that represents that ownership on the blockchain.
Right.
And the cool thing about that is you can divide that token into smaller fractions.
Okay.
So multiple people can own a piece of that property.
So instead of needing millions of dollars
Exactly.
to invest in like a skyscraper,
Yeah.
you could just buy like a tiny fraction
A tiny little piece of it.
of it through a token.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it opens up a lot of possibilities for everyday investors.
Right. So it's democratizing
Democratizing it.
in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just about fractional ownership, it's also about liquidity
Okay.
because these tokens can be traded easily on a blockchain.
Right.
It becomes much simpler to buy and sell assets that were previously very illiquid.
Okay.
And that's where Ethereum really shines
Okay.
because of its robust smart contract capabilities.
hmm
It makes it a really good platform for creating and managing these tokenized assets.
Okay. So Juan Lam predicts
He does.
that Ethereum's kind of dominance in this space
Yeah.
could lead to $100 billion
Yeah, it's a big
in
number.
annual fees.
100 billion.
That's a massive figure.
It is.
So walk us through a little bit about
Yeah.
how we even get to that number.
So his prediction is rooted in this idea that you're going to have a whole new ecosystem
Good.
built around these tokenized assets.
Okay.
So imagine these bustling exchanges where these tokens are being traded,
Okay.
generating significant trading fees.
Right. Just like a stock exchange.
Just like a stock exchange.
Yeah. Okay.
Then you've got these specialized funds that are managing portfolios of tokenized assets.
Okay.
And they're collecting management fees.
Right.
And then you can't forget about the fees associated with creating and issuing new tokens.
Right.
So there's a whole industry that could spring up around that.
Right.
So you've got multiple revenue streams all kind of contributing to this potentially $100 billion figure.
Okay. So obviously it's a
Which-
projection.
It is a projection, yeah.
There are a lot of factors that could influence
A lot of things could happen.
how that actually plays out.
Exactly, yeah.
What are some of those things?
So you have to think about the pace of mainstream adoption.
Right. Will people actually use it?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Then there's the whole regulatory landscape, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about in a bit.
Okay.
And then, of course, you have to think about the emergence of competing platforms.
Right. Because Ethereum isn't the only player in the game.
Exactly. Other blockchains out there trying to do similar things.
Okay. So speaking of mainstream adoption,
Yeah.
we've recently seen a huge surge in investments
We have.
in Ethereum ETFs.
Yeah. It's pretty remarkable.
$2 billion
Yeah.
flooded into these ETFs
Just poured right in
just 10 days.
10 days.
That's 8 times the total inflow
It's wild.
of the previous 4 months combined.
It's a lot of growth.
So what's driving this, like, sudden
Right. What's going on?
influx of capital?
Well, I think it shows growing confidence in Ethereum's long-term prospects.
Okay.
Investors are starting to see the real-world applications of tokenization,
Okay.
and they're recognizing Ethereum's potential to really disrupt traditional finance.
Right.
It's not just about the technology, it's about the whole ecosystem developing around it.
Okay, so we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but we
Yeah.
can't ignore the regulatory
Big one.
elephant in the room.
Yeah, the SEC.
So what role does regulation play in all of this, and how could it impact
Yep.
Ethereum's trajectory?
Well, it's a wild card right now.
Okay.
The lack of clear regulatory guidelines
Right.
creates a lot of uncertainty.
Makes people nervous.
It does, yeah, and it could be holding back even
Yeah.
more institutional investment.
So if we were to see some positive regulation from the SEC,
That would be a game
it
changer.
would be a game changer.
For sure, yeah.
Okay. How?
So it would signal legitimacy,
Okay.
and it would attract more traditional financial players to
Yeah.
the space.
So right now they're kind of
They're hesitant.
hesitant.
Yeah, they're dipping their toes in,
Okay.
but they're not going all in.
Okay.
But clear regulation could change that.
Okay. So on the flip side,
Right.
overly restrictive regulations
That's the other side of the coin.
could have a negative
It
impact.
could stifle innovation
Right.
and hinder Ethereum's growth.
Okay.
So Leon's bullish outlook is based in part
Okay.
on this expectation of a favorable regulatory environment.
Okay. So kind of to sum all this up,
Right.
Ethereum is positioned for potentially
It's looking good.
significant growth,
Yeah.
driven by this power of tokenization
Tokenization is key.
and this growing wave of institutional interest.
Yeah, they're starting to come around.
But it's not a guarantee.
No, definitely not.
The regulatory landscape
Big question mark.
is a huge factor.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
So here's something for you all to think about. If Ethereum does truly unlock the potential of tokenized assets,
Yeah.
what industries could be disrupted the most?
That's a good question.
Think beyond just finance.
Yeah.
Could we see tokenized ownership revolutionizing things like art,
Could be.
real estate supply chains,
I like it.
even voting systems?
Wow.
The possibilities are pretty vast,
They are.
and the implications
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch.
are far-reaching.
For sure.
So that's it for our deep dive today.
Fascinating stuff.
Make sure you join us next time
Definitely.
for another deep dive
Looking forward to it.
into the world of crypto.
Okay then.
See you then.